He stood 39 kilometers above the world, the atmosphere thinning to a whisper, the curve of Earth folding like a delicate seam beneath his boots. For a single breath, he belonged to two worlds, human fragility and an indifferent cosmos. Then he stepped out and became a falling story, a man in a suit, a single silhouette crossing the boundary between awe and danger. That moment, broadcast around the planet, felt like triumph. Years later, the same life that chased the edge of space ended far below, and the two images of his life, one of audacity and one of loss, would hold each other in uneasy balance. Felix Baumgartner grew up in Salzburg, Austria, hungry for height. From local airfields to the world's most dangerous ledges, his life read like a list of edges, airports, bridges, towers, and cliffs.
3, 2, 1, jump.
He learned to measure fear the way others measure distance, precisely and obsessively. He was not a reckless showman. He trained in the military, learned parachuting, then moved to base jumping and record attempts. A former record holder from the 1960s mentored him, offering technical guidance and steadying counsel that helped turn a dream into a mission. Felix carried a private hunger to know how far a human could go and still come back. That hunger moved him through pain and long test runs in wind tunnels until stepping from the stratosphere felt like a real possibility. The plan was impossible on paper. At the edge of space, the air stops being a cushion and starts being a threat. Temperatures plunged, blood risked boiling at low pressure, and a single spin in the thin air could rip a person apart with forces the body was never meant to feel.
Tell us, what was the biggest risk for you? What could have been the threat to your life?
Well, there's so many things, you're completely surrounded by a lot of technique, and if technique fails, you have a lot of problems up there. And there's not much they can do, you're very limited, so if something goes wrong, you're gonna die within 15 seconds.
Those were technical challenges. The more dangerous fight was inside Felix, the claustrophobia in the suit, the panic rising in low oxygen, and the question every daredevil faces when the applause fades: what now and what comes after crossing the last line? Behind the spectacle, there was a real debate. Critics called the project a stunt dressed as science. Supporters said it would teach engineers how to save lives should astronauts need to bail out at high altitude. Red Bull Stratos assembled a team of doctors, aerospace engineers, suit makers, and balloon specialists who worked over years to refine systems, test pressure seals, and simulate worst-case scenarios. A massive helium balloon was designed and built, a pressurized capsule developed, and a custom suit created to protect the human body in places where air is nearly absent. Felix dealt with panic attacks during training. The suit that was meant to protect him could trigger intense claustrophobia. He faced the paradox of feeling safest only when rehearsing the terrifying. He practiced breathing, visualization, and mental conditioning to keep panic at bay, stubbornly returning to tests until fear diminished enough for action. Training also included learning how to stop a dangerous spin without the help of dense air, a technical skill that would prove essential on the day of the jump. On a clear October morning in 2012, lifted by a balloon the size of a cathedral, Felix climbed into a pressurized capsule and rose until the blue of Earth became a thin band. At 39 kilometers above New Mexico, he opened the hatch into silence and cold. He ran through the final checklist, spoke to his team, and stepped into empty sky. The first seconds were almost slow, like a diver in a frozen cathedral. Then gravity took hold. He accelerated rapidly, slicing through an atmosphere so thin that sound behaved differently. He reached speeds faster than any human had fallen before, crossing transonic waters at more than 1,300 kilometers per hour. For a terrifying instant, he entered a violent tumbling spin, a whirl that could have taken his life. Those watching below felt the shock of near disaster. He fought his body in the sky, and then, against the odds, he steadied. After 4 minutes and 19 seconds of raw freefall, he opened his parachute. descended to desert ground. The jump delivered records and headlines. Official measurements later confirmed extreme numbers for exit altitude, free fall distance, and maximum descent speed. The numbers mattered for history, but what lingered most in people's minds was the image of a lone human falling through blue, the planet curving beneath him like a fragile promise. That image became a symbol of audacity and of a peculiar human hunger to cross boundaries. Triumph turned into a strange quiet. The jump became iconic footage and a teaching moment in aerospace circles.
Is it all a blur when you're falling that fast at speeds of over 833 miles an hour?
Actually, no, but I had an incredible view when I was standing on top of the world. I thought I have the privilege to stand there. Nobody else was there before.
But the man who made it began to live in smaller frames. He no longer needed to prove he could leave the Earth. He had. The question that follows many who live at extremes is not whether they can come back, but what comes next when the horizon itself no longer surprises. Felix continued to fly. He worked with helicopters and experimented with powered paragliders, machines that let him stay in the air without the global stage of a broadcast. For some observers, the post-Stratos life looked like a retreat. For others, it was a search for a gentler way to touch the sky. He kept close friendships from the Stratos team and spoke at events to promote safety in extreme sports. But there was also a restlessness. The absence of a next summit can leave a familiar ache where urgency once lived. In July of 2025, while flying a motorized paraglider along the Adriatic coast of Italy, Felix lost control. Witnesses described a sudden spiral and a crash near a resort pool in Porto Sant'Elpidio. He was 56 years old. The shock of a man who had survived the edge of space dying in a coastal airspace stunned the world. Investigations later found no mechanical defect. A formal inquiry concluded the accident was caused by human error, a spiral dive that could not be corrected, and recovery maneuvers that were not executed successfully. The finding closed a long loop. The same stubborn focus that had propelled Felix toward the stratosphere was, in a different sky, part of the calculus that could not save him. Authorities moved to formally close the case after concluding no technical failure had occurred. The arc of Felix's life is not just a gallery of spectacular images. It is a study of risk and of how human beings define meaning through boundaries. He taught engineers lessons about pressure, human body dynamics, and the limits of survival. He asked the world to look at fear differently, not as something to flee, but as a line to understand. He also forced a harder lesson, that courage and mortality are strangers who sometimes travel together. There is humility in standing at the rim of scale and recognizing how small a human life can feel against the planet. There is also a cost to a life lived persistently at the limit. The Stratos mission advanced knowledge and inspired awe. The later accident made a painful, public argument for caution and for the quiet dignity of choosing when to stop. Felix's life resists tidy lessons. He taught the world what a single human body could endure and what it could accomplish, and he paid the ultimate price doing what he loved. We remember the jump because it made us look up. We remember the fall because it made us look closer. In the end, his story asks a question we all must answer in our own ways. How far will we go and what will we bring back with us? His legacy continues to influence pilots, engineers, and ordinary people, a quiet reminder that curiosity can reshape technology and demand humility. If this story amazed you, don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stunts and daring adventures. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.